And in doing the 15-minute holotope experience, what we will be taking advantage of is that 15-minute solidification time span, so that when we start introducing new ideas, new beliefs, new perspectives, that you will then, according to your own desire and your own timing, begin to take into your brain, begin to rewire your neurological paths with those new ideas. Going through the holotope experience will give you the ability to ensure that the rewiring will go in the most positive direction possible, will imbue the most positive frequency possible, so that by the time it becomes hardwired, you are at least giving yourself the opportunity for more opportunity to experience more synchronicity, more hardwiring of the neurological pathways of your brain that is more in alignment with the positive vibration you say you prefer regarding the reality you wish to experience.
Spread love, man.
Okay, so get this. Today we're going to be like brain surgeons.
Woo, hold on. Are we actually doing brain surgery?
No scalpels needed for this one. But we are diving deep into the fascinating world of brain plasticity.
I see. Brain surgery as a metaphor. I like it.
Exactly. We're going to be exploring how our thoughts and beliefs literally reshape the physical pathways in our brains. And we've got a pretty wild source for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah. Lay it on me.
An excerpt from a talk by DARRYL ANKA. You know him.
The name rings a bell, but I'm not.
He channels this extraterrestrial entity named Bashar. And let me tell you, Bashar's take on this stuff is mind-blowing.
Extraterrestrials and brain plasticity, this is going to be good.
So, no scalpels involved, but we're talking serious transformation.
You know, it's funny you should say that because Bashar uses that exact phrase, brain surgery.
No way.
Yeah, he uses it to describe the process of consciously rewiring those neural pathways.
So every time I stress about my to-do list, I'm actually rewiring my brain.
That's exactly what Bashar is saying. And it's not just about stress. Every thought, feeling, every belief you have, it's leaving a physical trace.
So it's like I'm constantly reshaping my brain with every passing thought.
You got it. And Bashar gets pretty specific about how this whole process works. He talks about these tiny electrical impulses that are triggered with every thought. The more you think it, the more that impulse travels the same pathway in your brain, you know?
So the more I think it, the more that pathway becomes ingrained.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right. And Bashar compares it to like wearing down a path in the woods. The more you walk it, the more defined it becomes.
Okay, so far so good.
Yeah.
But how does this brain surgery idea fit in?
Well, Bashar's point is that we have the power to consciously rewire those pathways. It's not like we're just at the mercy of every random thought that pops into our heads.
Okay, I'm starting to see where he's going with this. But how do we actually DO that? Rewire those pathways, I mean.
Well, according to Bashar, it all comes down to being really deliberate with our thoughts, especially in those first 15 minutes when they're taking root.
Wait, 15 minutes, is that some kind of magic number?
According to Bashar, yeah, those first 15 minutes are crucial. He says that's when a thought is most malleable, like soft clay.
So in those 15 minutes, we can shape that thought into something more positive.
Exactly. He calls it brain surgery because we can either let that clay harden into a negative pathway or we can consciously mold it into something more positive.
Okay, so say I catch myself spiraling into self-doubt, right? What can I actually DO in that 15-minute window to rewire that thought?
It's all about interrupting that negative spiral and consciously redirecting your focus. Bashar suggests a bunch of different techniques, like replacing the negative thought with a positive affirmation.
So instead of thinking, I can't do this, I'd say something like, I am capable and resourceful.
Exactly. Or you could shift your attention to something else entirely, like putting on a song you love, or calling a friend, or even just taking a few deep breaths. Anything to break that negative momentum.
Interesting. So it's not about suppressing those negative thoughts altogether. It's more about consciously choosing a different direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. And Bashar emphasizes that the more we practice this, the more we strengthen those positive pathways, making it easier to default to them over time.
Makes sense. This makes me think about how we often get stuck in those negative thought loops without even realizing it.
That's where Bashar's idea about the self-reinforcing nature of belief systems comes in.
Okay, what does that mean?
He's saying that once a belief takes hold, especially a negative one, it actually starts looking for evidence to validate itself.
Wait, are you saying my brain is actively searching for proof that my negative beliefs are true?
Pretty much, yeah. Bashar compares it to wearing a pair of glasses that only lets you see certain colors. like in this case, the negativity tinted ones.
So even though there might be plenty of positive things happening around me, I'm only seeing the negative stuff because of those glasses.
Exactly. And just like positive beliefs can lead to more positive experiences, negative beliefs can create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, this is getting a little freaky, huh? It's like those negative beliefs have a mind of their own.
It does kind of feel that way, right? Especially because they've become so ingrained in those neural pathways. But there's good news, too.
Oh, good. I was starting to get a little worried. What's the good news?
Well, the good news is that Bashar says positive beliefs work the same way. They just often need a little more conscious effort to cultivate.
So how do we strengthen those positive pathways, especially if the negative ones are so well worn?
That's where Bashar's visualization exercise comes in.
A visualization exercise for brain surgery. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
He suggests that entering into a neutral receptive state, like through meditation, can make this rewiring process more effective.
So I'm guessing this visualization exercise involves picturing those neural pathways in my brain.
That's exactly it. But he says there's no right or wrong way to do this.
So if I picture them as like colorful ribbons weaving through my brain, that's totally fine.
Absolutely. You could see them as wires or fluids or a network of glowing lights, whatever resonates with you.
So there's no one right way to do it. It's all about connecting with the concept in a way that feels authentic for me.
Exactly. It's about tapping into your own inner world and using your imagination to shape your reality.
Okay, I'm starting to see why you said this was mind-blowing. This whole concept of our brains being so malleable, it's pretty incredible.
It really is. And, Bashar emphasizes that our physical reality, like what we experience in our lives, is actually shaped by those subconscious belief systems we were just talking about.
Hold on, so you're saying that if I believe the world is a terrible place, that belief will actually shape my reality?
That's what Bashar suggests, yeah. He says those beliefs create a kind of filter through which we interpret our experiences.
Okay, wait, so let me get this straight. If I'm convinced the world is a dangerous place, I'm more likely to notice and focus on those negative aspects, which just confirms my initial belief, right?
That's exactly what he's saying. It's like a vicious cycle.
Wow. So even though we're not performing actual literal brain surgery, we're still actively shaping our realities through our thoughts and beliefs.
Precisely. And that's the really exciting part. We have way more control over this process than we often realize.
Okay, I have to admit, this is all pretty fascinating, but I'm still a little fuzzy on how this visualization exercise actually helps with rewiring those neural pathways.
Think of it as a way to access your subconscious mind. That's where all those deep-seated beliefs are hanging out. And by visualizing those pathways changing, you're basically sending a message to your subconscious saying, hey, we're doing things differently now.
So it's like I'm priming my brain for transformation, making it more receptive to those new positive beliefs I want to cultivate.
Exactly. And the more you engage in this practice, the stronger those new pathways become.
This is incredible. So just to recap, we're talking about brain plasticity, this amazing ability of our brains to rewire themselves based on our thoughts and beliefs. And we have more control over this process than we might realize.
That's it. And just understanding that can be a complete game changer. It allows us to become conscious architects of our own minds.
And shape our reality in a more positive and fulfilling direction. Okay, I'm already starting to see how this could apply to so many areas of my life. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's dive a bit deeper into this visualization exercise, all right?
Sure.
Can you walk us through it step by step?
All right, let's walk through it. First things first, find a quiet space, where you can just relax without distractions. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Just let your body and mind settle.
So kind of like setting the stage for some serious inner work.
Exactly. And now, here's where it gets really interesting. Bashar says to visualize your brain, like picture it, and all of his neurological pathways. But he emphasizes there's no one right way to do this.
So if I picture them as, I don't know, colorful ribbons weaving through my brain, that's cool.
Totally fine. Whatever works for you. Wires, fluids, glowing lights. It's about connecting with the concept on a level that feels like authentic to you.
Gotcha. So, okay, I'm picturing those pathways. What now?
Just observe them for a second. Sense their energy, their complexity. You can turn them around in your mind, explore them from different angles, even hold them in your hand if that helps you connect with them.
It's like I'm getting to know my own brain on a whole new level.
Yeah, exactly. It's about becoming aware of this intricate network that's constantly shaping your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, everything.
Pretty mind-blowing when you think about it like that. But I have to admit, I'm still wrapping my head around this whole brain surgery metaphor.
Well, Bashar uses it to emphasize the intentional aspect of this whole process.
Hmm.
When we visualize those pathways changing, we're actually like performing surgery on our own belief systems.
So we're choosing which pathways we want to strengthen and which ones we want to, I don't know, let go of.
Exactly. And he suggests that this neutral meditative state we enter through visualization is like the operating room for this process. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So it's like creating this calm, clear space in our minds where we can work on those pathways with more precision.
Exactly. And just like a skilled surgeon, we need to be mindful and deliberate. We need to know which negative beliefs we want to remove and which positive ones we want to implant.
This is making me think about all those limiting beliefs I've been carrying around for years. It's like they've been operating on autopilot this whole time.
It's so common, you know? We often inherit these beliefs from our upbringing, our culture, past experiences. They become so ingrained that we don't even question them. But with awareness, we can start to challenge them and choose new ones that actually serve us.
Right. So how do we actually remove a negative belief? It's
Yeah.
not like we could just yank it out, right?
Right. It's more about replacing it with a more empowering belief. Remember, the brain strengthens pathways through repetition, so by consistently focusing on a new, positive belief, we create a stronger pathway that eventually overrides the old one.
So it's like paving a new path, one that's wider and more inviting, and eventually the old one just fades away because no one's using it anymore.
A perfect analogy. And as you walk that new path more and more, the old one starts to disappear, becoming less and less influential.
This is giving me so much hope. It means we're not stuck with those old limiting beliefs. We can choose to create new ones.
That's the incredible power of brain plasticity. It reminds us that we're constantly evolving and our brains can adapt and change.
This is seriously mind-blowing stuff.
Mhm.
But I know from experience, those negative beliefs can be super stubborn, like the ones that just keep popping up no matter how hard you try to ignore them.
That's where Bashar's advice on dealing with fear comes in. He says it's totally normal for those negative beliefs and fears to creep in during this process.
I remember he even said to invite them in, which sounds totally counterintuitive. Like, why would I invite in the things I'm trying to get rid of?
It does seem kind of paradoxical, I know. But there's actually a lot of wisdom in that approach. By acknowledging and accepting those fears, we actually take away their power.
So instead of pushing them away, we face them head on.
Exactly. When we resist those fears, we actually give them more energy, you know? But when we acknowledge them with compassion and curiosity, we can start to kind of dismantle them from the inside out.
It's like that saying, what you resist persists. The more we try to fight those negative beliefs, the stronger they become.
Exactly. So next time a negative belief or fear pops up, don't judge yourself. Just observe it with curiosity. Maybe even ask yourself, what is this fear trying to tell me?
So it's about transforming those negative beliefs into opportunities for growth. I like that.
Yeah, and as you work through those fears, you'll find they lose their grip on you. They become less intimidating, and they don't influence your decisions as much.
This is powerful stuff. It's like we're performing surgery on our brains, A&D our hearts.
I love that because, you know, ultimately, this whole process of rewiring is about cultivating self-love and acceptance. It's about recognizing your worthiness, regardless of those old beliefs.
And that we have the power to create the reality we want.
You got it. And remember, Bashar emphasizes that this is a journey, not a destination. There are going to be ups and downs, moments of doubt, moments of clarity, you know. But the key is to keep practicing, keep focusing on the positive, and trust the process.
It's like learning any new skill. It takes time and patience. But with consistent effort, we can master it.
And the rewards are huge. As we rewire our brains for positivity, we open ourselves up to a whole world of possibilities. More joy, more love, more abundance. It's all there waiting for us.
This is so inspiring. But I'm curious, what does Bashar say about, the actual science of neuroplasticity? Does he acknowledge the research that's been done in that field?
He does. Even though Bashar's teachings come from a more, I guess you could say, metaphysical perspective, he often references scientific principles to back up his ideas. For example, he talks about how repeated experiences and thoughts create stronger neural connections, which is totally in line with current research on neuroplasticity.
So it's like Science is catching up to what Bashar's been saying all along.
Uh-huh.
Our thoughts really can change the physical structure of our brains.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so exciting. We're starting to see this convergence of like ancient wisdom and modern science.
Okay, so we've talked about the brain surgery metaphor, the importance of rewiring those neural pathways, how to deal with negative beliefs. But there's still one piece of the puzzle I'm missing. Bashar keeps mentioning this holotope experience. Can you explain what he means by that and how it fits into everything we've been talking about?
Oh, that's a great question, and it's where things get really, really interesting. He's suggesting that by doing this visualization exercise we've been talking about, we're actually creating a holotope. It's basically like a holographic representation of our desired reality.
Wait, hold on. A holographic representation. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. What does that actually look like?
Imagine you're building a model of the life you want, right? But instead of using physical materials, you're using energy and consciousness. You're visualizing all the details, the emotions, the intentions, all of it.
So it's like I'm creating a blueprint for my future,
Yeah.
but it's more than just a static image. It's like a whole sensory experience.
You got it. And Bashar suggests that this holotope actually has the potential to influence our physical reality.
Wait, are you serious? So by visualizing and like really feeling into this ideal reality, I'm actually increasing the likelihood of it manifesting.
That's the idea. It's about aligning your energy with your intentions, creating this powerful vortex of attraction.
This is starting to sound a bit like, the law of attraction, like focus on positive thoughts and feelings and you'll attract more positivity into your life, that kind of thing.
It's definitely connected to that principle. Bashar suggests that by focusing on the positive, we literally attract more of it.
Okay, this is fascinating, but I have to be honest, a part of me is a bit skeptical. Is there any, scientific evidence to support this idea of holotopes? Like, can they actually influence reality?
Well, while mainstream science hasn't specifically studied holotopes, there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that our thoughts and beliefs have a huge impact on our reality. For example, in the field of epigenetics, researchers are finding that our environment and experiences can change how our genes express themselves.
Hold on. Are you saying if I focus on positive thoughts, it could actually change how my genes work?
Yeah, it's what the research seems to indicate. And it doesn't stop there. In quantum physics, researchers are finding that the observer, us, plays a fundamental role in shaping reality. Just the act of observing something can influence how it behaves.
So you're saying our minds can actually influence matter?
It's pretty mind-blowing, right? It offers this incredible glimpse into how interconnected consciousness and matter really are.
It's like science is catching up with ancient wisdom traditions that have been saying this for centuries.
Exactly. As we continue to explore these mysteries, I think we'll find even more evidence that we're powerful creators.
Okay, so much to take in here, but let's get back to this holotope experience for a second. Can you, walk us through how to create one? What are the steps involved?
Okay, so we've built this amazing holographic model of our dream reality, this holotope, but it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing, right?
You got it. It's more like planting a seed. You have to nurture it if you want it to grow.
So how do we keep that energy alive, that holotope energy? How do we actually help it manifest?
Bashar suggests revisiting your holotope regularly, like checking in with it, especially in that first 15 minutes after you create it. It's like giving it a booster shot of energy.
So I should be checking in with my holotope a bunch of times, not just once. Exactly. The more you focus on it, the stronger those neural pathways become.
Makes sense. But how do we check in? Is it just more visualizing?
That's one way. You can also meditate on it or write about it in a journal. It's all about keeping those feelings and intentions alive and strong.
Okay, so we're nurturing our holotope, keeping that energy flowing. What else can we do to help it manifest?
Creating a visual representation of your holotope can be really powerful.
So like a vision board with pictures and words that represent my goals.
Exactly. Or you could draw something or paint or even make a collage. It's about making your holotope more real and tangible.
I love that. It's like I'm giving it a physical form in the world, reminding myself that this isn't just some abstract idea.
And don't forget about affirmations. While you're working with your holotope, say things like, "This is manifesting now," or "I am so grateful for," whatever resonates with your goals.
So it's like I'm aligning my words with the reality I'm creating, speaking it into existence.
Exactly. You're creating this resonance between your inner world and the outer world.
This makes me think about, synchronicity. Do you think creating a holotope can make us more attuned to those meaningful coincidences, the ones that seem to guide us toward our goals?
Totally. Bashar says that when we align ourselves with the frequency of our desires, we become more aware of synchronicities. It's like the universe sending us little winks and nudges, guiding us along the way.
So it's like the universe is conspiring with us to help our holotope become a reality.
Exactly. And the more you trust in the process, the more those synchronicities will show up.
So it's a dance between trust and action.
You got it. We have to be ready to take action when those opportunities present themselves.
This is so empowering. But what happens when I'm visualizing my holotope and those doubts start to creep in, like this is never going to happen, that kind of thing? How do I deal with those voices?
Remember what we talked about earlier? Invite them in. Acknowledge those doubts and fears, but don't judge them. Just gently guide your focus back to your holotope, back to those feelings of joy, gratitude, excitement.
All right, so it's like we're retraining our minds to focus on what's possible, not what's impossible.
Exactly. And remember, this is an ongoing process. There will be ups and downs. The key is to keep practicing and trusting the journey.
This has been an incredible deep dive, seriously. But before we wrap up, I have one more question. You mentioned that this process of brain rewiring has a ripple effect on, like, the whole collective consciousness. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. Bashar believes that as we individually heal and raise our own consciousness, we contribute to a larger shift in the collective consciousness of humanity. We're all interconnected, right? Our individual energy affects the whole.
So as more people rewire their brains for positivity, it creates a more positive energy field for everyone.
That's the idea. It's like we're all playing in a giant orchestra, and as more instruments start playing in tune, the music becomes more beautiful and harmonious.
Wow, that's such a powerful image. It means we all have the power to make a difference just by choosing positivity and love.
Exactly. And even the smallest acts of kindness and compassion can have a huge ripple effect.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. I feel like I have so many new tools to work with. Thanks for sharing your wisdom.
It was my pleasure. And to you, our listener, remember that you have the power to shape your reality. Start with small steps, nurture your holotope, and watch the magic unfold.
I love that. And with that, we've come to the end of our deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep shining your light.